Okay, we're gonna start. So yeah, first thing is big welcome to everyone to what is probably our seventh or eighth Chroma team roundtable. I can never remember which number it is. But for those of you who are new to the server or new to yeah, everyone got liquidated exactly, or who are just new to this stream, this is our weekly live stream where we run around the charts, the markets, and we give our thoughts as a team, what we're looking at, what we're expecting from the market particularly over the coming 7 days. As I said, it's a weekly stream, so we try and set you guys up for the coming 7 days and just give you an idea as to what we're looking at, what we are expecting. So I see we have Monk, Jedi, Jonesy, and Victor in the chat. Or sorry, on the stage with me. We will be talking with these guys and maybe one or two more if they decide to join. Um, and yeah, that's basically it. So before we start, I just want to touch and I'm looking at as I look at BTC here, it is nuking. This short, by the way, is not one that I'm in. This is a short that I shared. We walked through it on stream yesterday. I didn't take it myself. I wasn't at my desk yesterday when price reacted from the level. But playing out, I'll take this off actually, so it doesn't look disingenuous. But yeah, I do think that 111K here is coming, and we're gonna run August, the monthly low here, which would be kind of wild because that would be this whole move up getting retraced, which seems kind of likely now. But yeah, before we get into the charts, I just want to touch on something very briefly. And if this message resonates with just one or two people out of the 50 that are listening now, then it's worth saying it. So just to say that, in times like this, there are guys in this chat right now who have been stung pretty badly over the last couple of days, over the last couple of weeks, whatever it is. Guys who have taken a few L's, guys who have taken small losses, guys who've taken big losses. Now, hopefully, hopefully most of you were managing your risk, but unfortunately, like I know how these things go. I know there are some people who maybe weren't managing the risk as well as they might have liked or as well as they should have been. And guys have taken a hit. Hopefully, you guys haven't been knocked out of the game permanently. Hopefully, this is just something that you'll be able to overcome. But my advice for anyone who has taken a hit over the last couple of weeks is just to try and and you know keep your chin up. And I'm trying to avoid using cliches here, right? But try and flip the adversity or flip the loss into something positive. Like if you took a big hit, try and identify why you took that big hit. What went wrong, right? What went different to how you planned it? What were you looking for and what didn't happen, right? Try and journal. Try and always turn these losses into instructive moments, right? Because if you lose money and that's it, then that's a loss, right? That's a real shame. But if you lose money and you learn something from it, then you can kind of, at least in my head, you can kind of frame that as just the cost of tuition. And the idea is that you get better, go again, and then you don't repeat those mistakes again. Like the trading is all about ups and downs, right? You have highs, you have lows, and it's just like price action, right? The idea you're trying to turn those highs into higher highs and you're trying to turn those lows into lower lows. Or sorry, into higher lows. So if you're facing a low now, right? Try and make sure that it's a higher low. Try and make sure that you learn something from this experience. Try and make sure that you don't repeat the same mistakes again, and most importantly, right, I know I mentioned risk management. Try and manage your downsides so that you're not knocked out of this game permanently. Someone in the chat earlier um, said that one of their friends got knocked out of crypto. They got liquidated for six figures and knocked out of crypto permanently. And unfortunately, those kind of losses are all too common when the market pulls back like this, especially after BTC just puts in an all-time high. Guys are chasing the upside, they're entering high leverage longs, and they're getting liquidated when BTC pulls back. It's less than 10%, I believe, this pullback. Yeah, like 8.7%, right? There is no reason why you should be getting liquidated or knocked out of the game permanently on a 7 to 8% pullback. But that's almost a conversation for another day. I'm just talking about the psychology of it today, right? like any one of the traders on this stage today, any one of the traders in the team can tell you that they have encountered huge adversity in their trading careers, and thankfully they've always been able to overcome it. Like I have been in situations before where like 70 to 80% of my net worth was gone, like vanished in crypto because I was over leveraged, I was not managing my risk, I didn't know what I was doing. But, thankfully I was able to kind of sit down and ask myself some very hard questions and overcome that. So I guess the TLDR of this is that a backward step doesn't mean the journey is over, right? And in times like this, it really does say a lot about who you are and your character, in terms of like how you encounter adversity and how you overcome it. So yeah, just I know that's a lot of those are a lot of words, but the bottom line is if you're stinging at the moment, right? If you're feeling this downside, everyone on this stage has been there before, and just try and frame it, try and reframe it as something positive. Try and get better, and try and go again, right? If you need to touch grass in the meantime, then that's fine. Was that the day you started thinking alts are a scam? Oh, sorry, Luna. Yeah. Yeah, Luna. Luna knocked a lot of guys on their asses. Liquidated in 2021. Open. We've all been there before. We know what it's like. So don't think that if you're losing here or if you've encountered loss that you're alone, because that's very much a part of every trader's journey. So I won't dwell on that anymore. Looking at BTC, and this is something I covered in my stream today. So I'll just run quickly through my thoughts, and then we can go back to price action on stream yesterday. But for those who weren't there, we are looking at now, like the channel is going to be the channel low is going to be claimed. And I said that we were in this very clean descending channel going back to basically mid July. For almost a month now, we've been kind of scammy if you've been trying to long. But actually, this is pretty textbook bearish price action after the weekly SFP at the highs here. We just have lower lows and lower highs, right? Even if we bounce here, you're expecting this just to be a lower low, right? And all the time, what we've been getting is these strong reaction from these H4 FEGs, right? It's been remarkably clean, right? Three, if not four, extremely strong bearish reactions from H4 FEGs there. And you see now we are losing the mid channel. I think the next protocol is this low, new monthly low, and another deviation of the channel low. Now, I kind of spoke about this already. I think I have a chart here. Yeah. I spoke about this already, that if we accepted back inside the channel here, this is the mid channel, this is the descending channel, then you're looking for the next bounce of channel lows. If we don't bounce there, right? If we don't bounce there, then we're kind of looking at the previous range we were in, and this whole move up in July and August starts looking a little bit like a deviation. And I think then you have to really start changing the way you're looking at BTC price action, right? Especially with people talking about ghost month, people talking about um, historic bearishness in August or September, whatever it is. I think that if we lose this level and start trading back kind of 111K, 110K, you really need to start, as trader is a trader XO always talks about playing it level to level. I think you need to start adjusting your levels and looking at the range that we were in back in May to July. But we can cross that bridge when it comes to it. For now, the plan is very simple. I think that you don't look for longs here until we run the monthly low, and only then on some kind of bullish confirmation. I think we could end up retesting, 110K here. That would be a level that I could definitely see us bouncing at, or potentially the previous value area high, which is about 108K. But I don't see any reason for us to bounce here personally. I don't think that this is a level that holds any great significance, especially when we have lows here to take, and levels here that haven't been retested in a few months. So that's kind of what I'm looking at in terms of BTC. Let me look. Who do we have here? Jonesy. What are you looking at? Do you have any contrarian opinions? Because I know that I saw one of your charts earlier. I know that you've been looking at some interesting harmonics.
Yeah. Let me know how my audio is. I'm at my parents', so I'm just on Wi-Fi and stuff, but it seems to be good connection. So, um, yeah, I think for me, I tried to long on the cipher, got like a nice reaction, but basically got stopped out break even on the pullback going into today's candle. um, which then potentially was looking like a confirmation low. Didn't really get that. You're now coming right down to the 886 for the shark, which is what I kind of outlined in the charting class markups from the weekend. So was kind of like the original game plan. I think it makes a little more sense with taking out some of these lows here. For me, that's kind of like the last place I would be looking for longs until you see, I would say, like below 112. I think at that point, if you're going back below here, um, maybe the 1.13, but really it should react here, at least for like, I'd be looking for up to true weekly open around 116.6. Again, I don't know if you'll see 118.5. I could just see kind of like a higher low here and then another downside move. Um, yeah, I mean, there's some equal lows down around 107. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see too much more than potentially like 105, 106 on like a capitulation type thing with a strong reclaim of 108 to 110 in the coming weeks if we're going to see more of a deep move down. But I think in the short term for the rest of this week, I'm looking for still like a long play, a little bit lower, probably around like 300, 400-ish at around 113,000. So unless this is a reaction we go up here, but I don't really want to long this. I either want to long down here with invalidation below the EQ or just wait for something else to play out later on in the week. I think it's like we had a really nice PA at the start of last week and then the week before, and this week it just kind of hasn't really. I mean, for at least long biased trades, it just hasn't really been working out. So I'm kind of taking it slow this week. No reason to like lose it all before we start seeing some nice moves again. So just kind of taking it easy. But yeah, I think there's a chance for upside, but uh I do still think high time frame bearish until you start seeing like 118, 500 reclaimed and or um just strong structural shifts. Because right now it's just kind of consolidating to the downside, uh building up like a steeper curve down. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. I agree with you on basically everything you said, to be honest. I think that something that will catch a lot of traders out with this strong downside move we're seeing is, wanting to long too early or feeling that FOMO as soon as price bounces like $300 or $400, and you're just thinking like, oh, maybe this is the low, maybe this is the bottom. I feel like that's something that particularly a lot of beginner traders fall victim to, trying to time the bottom, right? Trying to time the bottom of like a multi-week downtrend and just saying, oh, like this could be it. I need to long now. Whereas you're almost always better waiting for the bottom to form. Like bottoms take time to form, tops take time to form. And there's no point trying to knife catch and trying to time the bottom because you'll just get bloody hands. You're always better waiting for the market to show you when it wants the bottom. And even if you miss the first 30 to 40% of the move, it doesn't matter as long as you're catching the meat of the reversal. You're doing all right. Tim, I see you here. Tim, you're normally one of the last to speak, so I'm gonna go to you early. What are you looking at, my man?
Hey guys, I'm same as Jonesy, so I apologize if my voice is not up to par with my normal mic. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right, so I have similar thoughts to Jonesy. I don't see us running this low around 112 and just sweeping it and bouncing off of it. I feel like since we've already tagged this previous high over here, right? We got a reaction off of it. It was nice. I'm sort of expecting this. If we fall lower for daily demand to catch a tag. All right, and that would give us a nice reclaim level here, and I would trigger in along something like this. So I think we can bounce off that level, but I sort of think that this previous high, we're within of a range high here, and this nice daily demand, it just looks good for a bounce to me right there. We do not have to go that low. It's just something I'm sort of watching that I would like to add to what Jonesy said. I like his levels. I like his charts. I would also like to go over Ethereum because I think it's a much cleaner play for me. Fellas, I believe you had a chart that was very similar to what I'm looking for. Sorry, my voice is acting up on me. We have a previous range high here that's quite clean. And we have a nice daily fair value gap just chilling right there. Right at this range high. We have previous week lows right around this range high, and that is also a nice weekly fair value gap. So I'm looking for reactions around this level and around this previous range high on Ethereum. So if Bitcoin can hold up where it is and doesn't get the dip lower that I think could happen, I think Ethereum can still be the play. I think it's kind of an obvious play, but so is that last Bitcoin long around 112, right? So I think this is something we should keep our eyes on with Ethereum, as it never took its all-time high, which is crazy, right? You know, it would be totally Ethereum for it to front run its all-time high like it did and just dump off, deviate this range high. But I think it's something we have to monitor and it's something that we have to consider. So that's sort of where my eyes are going into the rest of the day, maybe tomorrow. Who knows what's going to go on with the Russia-Ukraine news? I don't know. I think they're aiming towards peace, but you know this has been dragging out for years. There's something to watch out for. If good news on that front were timed with the previous range high tag, I think it would be the most ideal. But I would look for a nice tag here, and you'll have some sort of a diagonal break probably. You could probably draw up a nice trend line off of there. You could look for other confluences structurally. You could look for the tag and the reclaim of the previous week low. Seems to be trading quite clean right here. There's no reason to force yourself into longs just yet, I don't think. I agree with Follis on that front. The order flow has just been very clear to the downside, so no forcing. You give yourself a few tries. It's okay to lose 3-4 times, but you don't keep beating it to death, and you manage your risk appropriately. You're not going 10% port on trades low time frame that you're not sure of. You wait for your levels to come, you strike when they get there, and you keep yourself in the game. It's pretty much all I got. Short, sweet, and simple.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Tim. Thank you for that. And yeah, I think we're looking for many of the same things, to be honest. So yeah, appreciate your insight as always, buddy. And your mic quality was completely fine.
Very cool.
So don't worry about it. Yeah. I see Jedi on the stage. Jedi, as the newest team member, the pressure is on. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Sorry, say again.
Good. Yeah, can you hear me? Is it sound
Yeah,
okay?
we can. I would love to know what your thoughts are on the market at the moment.
Yeah, I think from a technical level, I think you guys are covering, what is obviously the short-term perspective on what's going on. But I think what's really important about the market right now, from my side of things, is that we've always kind of seen this kind of behavior at the end of a bull market. It always kind of backs off around August, September, and then October gets really interesting, and then November generally allows us to experience what I think we're going to see, and that's going to be serious blow off tops, and I think it might even land up carrying into December as well. And why do I think that? I just think there's too much momentum behind what narratives there are at the moment. I think we started out this bull market extremely boring. I think it was by far one of the most boring and probably one of the least innovative kind of markets that we've seen, compared especially to last bull market where we had ohm forks and we had all these Ponzi's. And this market for us has been very much around memes, and then Bitcoin pretty much dominating the narrative. I mean, Ethereum was dead in the water up until like 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago. And we've never seen that before. So I think there's a lot of catching up that the market needs to do. I don't think that everything is going to land up catching that wind in its sails, but I think we need to be very aware and we need to be very clever around what picks we make and why we're making them. So why am I here? I'm here because I think the community side of what it is that Chroma has is quite unique. I've been in this space for a very long time. I've grown a business that has a great community, but my time in that business is coming to an end, and I needed to find something else that could kind of like compare or even something that could be better. And Chroma is what I've identified. So I don't know whether that's an insult or a compliment, but I'd like to think that it is a compliment. In light of
We'll
the fact
definitely
that I've
take
been
it as
here
a
for
compliment. Yeah.
in light of the fact that I've been in the space for a long time, this is my 8th year. And no, I haven't made it yet, but that's just because I didn't do the risk management stuff. And just coming back to kind of like your opening gambit on this round table, Folus, is that I think another thing that's worked for me is like if you have taken a beating, I think what I find is really useful is to maybe downsize your bets going into the next bet and make it 10% of what you usually would do, and then try and rebuild the confidence, because at the end of the day, winning brings on more winning. It's just the nature of who we are as human beings, and I think you need to tap into that. And as soon as you start tapping into the losing side of it, it does the same thing. Losing brings on more losses. So if you are losing, then bring your bet size down and get back to practicing. You know, it's not really what you achieve along the way, as long as you fucking get to where you need to get to. And I think it's really important that you also speak to the right people. So if you are taking strain, you know, lean on each other. Find people in this community that you relate to, that you identify with, and tell them what's going on in your life and why it's going, and they need to do the same for you. So that's very useful to be able to reach out to people, and I find that it works really well for me. So maybe something that you guys can take away. I think in terms of just coming back to where the market is at the moment, I mean, obviously, I tend to be over bullish. I have vast quantities of delusion running through my body, but that's what's kept me in the game. And I think that we are going to see tremendous upside. But this week, I think we need to just be super aware of the fact that we have got Jackson Hole coming up on the weekend. We've found in the past that this week has always been pretty much traditionally a down week as well. So I don't want to read too much into, you know, like maybe there's a break in structure. I know that you guys have spoken about it in a number of the streams that I've been listening into, but I think this is a temporary thing. I'm going to remain bullish. I think ETH is the play right now. I think there are some outsiders. I think Mantle's going to do really well. It seems like Bybit is starting to put some money into that whole thing. And funny enough, their main advisor to the Mantle ecosystem, who is Geordie Alexander, is also the market maker for Mantle. And I think they've been waiting, and I think we're going to see some interesting stuff around that. So I think that is a bit of alpha. So put that coin on your lists, especially the TA guys. I think Mantle is starting to exhibit some really interesting moves, and it's starting to kind of like obey those levels that you would normally see on a TA level. Could be wrong. I'd love to hear what you guys think once you've looked at it. And then just closing off, the reason why I came to Chroma as well was to kind of just give a little bit of perspective outside of the TA side of things. DeFi is a weird and wonderful world, and there's tremendous opportunity for those who are willing to put the time and the effort in. I mean, we've seen 100x plays, 50x plays, 20x plays over the last 3 to 4 weeks. I've been very fortunate to see a couple of those. Once again, it's all about risk. I haven't made big bets on those, but I've made great money, and I can lead you guys down this path. Yes, it can be treacherous. Yes, it can be fraught with many traps and a whole lot of bullshit and a whole lot of insider scammy stuff. But I promise you, if you persevere and you manage your risk, there is a huge amount of money that can be made, and it's a game that you can learn how to play, and you can learn how to play it successfully. So I think, just closing off, Folus, I think for me, it's like, it seems like there are a couple of people that are interested. The question would be, you know, trying to gauge if there is enough interest. I'm happy to get on stream in Discord and kind of walk people through in terms of what the process is from a safety perspective around wallets, how to manage transfers in and out of wallets, what to look out for, where to look for, and how to stay safe in that space. Like, just get the fundamentals right. But once you do, I mean, just check out heaven.xyz. There's this light token at the moment that's absolutely cooking. And it's cooking because they're doing this buyback thing that I think is going to change the way that I think memes and even tokens are played out at the moment. So they're taking all revenue in this ecosystem. It is a launch pad, and they're driving it into this token. And I only see upside on this thing. I don't think we're going to see much downside because these guys have something to prove, and they're essentially here to eat pump and Bonk's breakfast. So that's just one example of many, and hopefully you guys can follow what it is that I'm posting. And if there is anything that you want or need, just reach out. I love on a shit. Thanks for the opportunity.
Good long opportunity at the end of this month, and then if we have some spot, I know that I will take some profit in August because I don't want to be too much exposed in September, not just because, as we can see here, we have some negative month in September if we compare 2018 and also 2021, but because everyone is expecting one news. I prefer to be out of the market with 2 great months that we had on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then I will not cut all my portfolio, maybe 30% or 40%, in order to have a healthy pullback on all the market. And something that I share also on my corner, it was the open ETS that we have on Ethereum. I think it's pretty big, and it will be great for all the market to have a reset of all the traders that are over leverage, and maybe it will be good, and then to target the all-time high on Ethereum. As I said, I am part of the team that targeting all-time high on Ethereum and even higher, even 6K, but we need good news, and we are more closer than good news from macroeconomic, but also from geopolitical thing. We see that Trump and the world is trying to make ceasefire and also to making peace, and we are not in the same situation than 2021. We are more close to cut rate and also quantitative easing. So at the end of the day, I'm not thinking that we will go. If I share on Bitcoin, I have some trades that I'm expecting to take from the level. I will be quick because everyone, I already talked about it, but I'm expecting this one more offensive, and this one, and even if we go back and this range, I will think that the price action is still good to target a new all-time high, and I will still thinking that Ethereum and Bitcoin will drive the market. I will not be part of the teams that will be too much on art, even if it's a great option. As Jedi said, we have some low cap, and it can be very interesting to have a good X, but I'm less exposed on altcoins. It's what we have in December, and also about liquidity because we have too much alt on the market, and you need like a very fundamental team, and that we have in Chroma that do crypto picking. So at the end of the day, I think it's better to do this kind of crypto picking and have one of two. I'm trying to go through deep in more and more. It's kind of tough analysis, but for me, it's one of the best ecosystems that make a lot of revenue. It's behind the scene because it's not very sexy as thematic, but I like to see some fundamental projects that make a lot of revenue, make business as traditional companies that we have in the real world. So yeah, I talk a lot of things, but yeah, that's my my take for the months that are coming. I think I will try to have the last leg from August, and then to see what will happen in the beginning of September, to see what Powell will say in Jackson Hole. For sure, everyone will ask him to talk about PPI and the cut and what is planned for the next 6 months. So I think this end of month will be very interesting for us. Maybe with a price action more interesting on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But yeah, this is my plan overall for the coming weeks, and even which thematic I'm analyze for the moment. So I will not take more time because we have some analysts that want to talk. But yeah, this is my view.
That's awesome, Monk. Thank you so much. Yeah, the Jackson Hole symposium is something we probably haven't talked about enough on this stream. What day is that actually?
Fridays.
Friday. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah.
It's on a
Okay.
Saturday.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Jedi? From a fundamental DeFi perspective?
Well, I think not from a fundamental DeFi perspective, but I think there's conversations out there on the macro kind of wise that it's going to be quite hawkish, and I think this kind of animosity that Trump has been directing towards these guys and Powell particularly might land up coming out. I think the PPI numbers obviously haven't put things into great perspective. Hopefully the CPI numbers can come in good, but I don't think it's going to, well, the market's not expecting it to be a positive, and that's why we're seeing this downside at the moment. So I'm not feeling optimistic about it because I've read some pretty negative takes on it. So I don't know if anyone else has intel on it.
I feel like Osbra has a take on Jackson Hole. He always has one of those gigabrain macro takes.
Thanks for the introduction. Now I can.
That was a nice segue, wasn't it? That was a nice way to introduce you.
Yeah, it was perfect. No, absolutely no pressure. Thank you, man. Now about the macro. Obviously, guys, you noticed the last week that it matters a lot, and that the market has been completely news driven. So maybe we could have a debate one day with all the analysts, but I'm sorry for the people who say everything is on the chart. Now everything is on the news since January, I think, since Trump took over the office. The latest macro figures were bad. So considering that Powell has been quite independent and resilient to anything that Trump or Besant had to say, I don't believe it could be dovish. So on that note, I am aligned with what Jedi said. Jedi, I didn't know you had macro readings. That's good to know. So yeah, I think the tone of the speech might be hawkish. It could eventually hint towards rate cuts in September. But the thing is it a surprise? Would it be a surprise? Hawkish is bearish, legend. Hawkish is when the tone is bearish, and dovish is when it's bullish. Accommodating, yeah. Dovish is accommodating, and hawkish is less accommodating. It's restrictive regarding the monetary policy. So yeah, I think Powell is going to stick to what he's doing his best. It means repeating again and again and again that everything is well and that the monetary policy is at a good place right now. Obviously, we'll have, and you want to pay attention to the next CPI. It will be very important. It will happen after the Jackson Hole, obviously, but it's going to be really, really important. And obviously, the market is gonna move a lot because, as I said, and guys, you really want to print this in your head. The market has been news driven, and you've seen what happened in between two major events. The market doesn't really move. I saw a lot of people complaining that US sessions have been boring has held lately, and basically it's because everyone is waiting for a few things. To make it short, people are waiting for the peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine. People are also waiting for a deal between China and the USA regarding the tariff. It's always postponed. People are also waiting for rate cuts. So until then, I don't think the market is gonna do that much. And maybe you guys didn't pay attention. It's something I shared yesterday or this morning. This morning, talking with people in the crypto chat. Now the Bank of Japan is starting to talk about potential rates increase. I think everybody here knows what it could mean. If you guys remember last August, but maybe another episode of carry trading, and that would lead us to some price levels. So let me share the screen. It's a perfect segue. Thank you. Got inspired. I think it will lead to some targets to be hit. On
Imagine having to listen to fucking Arthur Hayes tell us about the carry again, dude. I don't think I could live through that. I'd have to remember Arthur Hayes and his commentary around that carry. I mean, I almost killed myself. I really can't live through that again.
Yeah, I'm not really listening to this guy. He's changing his opinion.
He is such a fucking dude, such a lop.
Yeah, but yeah, I think then it would accelerate the downside movement, and to give like a word about TA. I don't think this could be a support. It happened on a Sunday, and just after it happened, I was skeptical about this being a bottom happening on a Sunday. Quite weird. So if we don't manage to reclaim that LTF support that was around 115K, then I do believe we go much lower than the current local bottom. This is 112. We have, I think this is the one that Tim was showing on his screen, but I do believe we go a bit lower, maybe lower than 110, something around like 109,000. We have that nice daily demand. And also, as it's written on the charges here, you have a lot of stops to hunt. So basically, all the guys who took a long during the weekend, that Sunday when the bottom was formed, they have their stops obviously below, maybe at break even, and taking all these stops will obviously lead to a small cascade, and then the next level of support would be around here. Yeah, this zone. If we go lower, then yeah, I don't really talk about it now, because the goal is not to kill the vibes, to be a party pooper, but that would be really bad, I think. So yeah, short-term support. Let's look at 110. For now, I think it's a short. It's a market to be shorted. So because like John Z said, the order flow is obvious on LTF, pointing towards the downside, until we get that level of support, and the order condition for me to go long again would be to reclaim the level, something like that. So we could print change of structure right here, then retest 115 and go higher, maybe retest 118. That is an unmitigated supply that we have. So that's my view. I don't want to give a bias, because I think it's quite obvious after today, and especially if we close like that, and even more important on the daily, if we close like that, then it will definitely hint towards acceleration to the downside. Maybe on Friday with the Powell speech, but it's only Tuesday, and until Friday a lot can happen on the geopolitical side. Maybe if I can just take 1 minute to end this speech. I think some altcoins look a bit better on BTC currently. BTC is losing a key level, and some alts like Sol are still holding. For how long, who knows, but still looking okay. At least they didn't disappoint yet. They came back to an interesting area of interest, for example, and they are holding, surprisingly. Same with ENA. ENA is also at an interesting level. And this will be aligned with what Monk said. Not all altcoins will push until we get quantitative easing fully on. And even with the money printer being on, I doubt we get the same thing that we had in 2020, 2021. So, like Monk said before, you have to do some cherry picking with your altcoins. It's very, very important. I saw Purdue. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he posted some alpha about how to choose the right altcoins, and I really recommend you guys to read what he said. It's gonna help you a lot to choose your coins wisely. Whatever it's for spot, for swing longs, for to be very important to understand how to do so. So that's my take. On Friday, I will try to cover the Jackson Hole like I did before with the FOMC and with the other events. So we can have some real-time commentary. Yeah, commentary. And that's it. That's my current view of the market.
That's awesome, Osbra. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, exactly, Victor. Saving what's best for last. Sorry, yeah, just conscious of the fact we're coming up to the hour now. Rouge, do you have your mic? Are you able to speak?
Yeah. I'm here.
Amazing. I'm delighted that you're on the call. It's a rarity to have you. I think we had you for the first one or two, but not since then. So please
Yeah,
tell us
because
what you're looking at. Sorry, go on.
I wasn't very like present in the roundtables just because I used to stream like every day, and after my streams, I tend to like need a break
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like speaking nonstop is kind of taxing. So I'm still not used to it.
Of course.
So you want my take on what's going on at the
Whatever you want
moment?
to talk about. Yeah, we're talking about the market. We're talking about BTC.
Yeah.
What are you looking at specifically over the next 7 days?
So basically, from my perspective, once again, I was kind of wrong when we bottomed last 2 weeks ago at the previous ATH. But the thesis that bulls had it way too easy came into play after the failed rally at the ATH. And in my opinion, at the moment, it's a slow bleed. It's my favorite environment to be trading. And it shows on the tracker. So basically, the bad run I had has been almost fully compensated by this downside. And at the moment, market looks very, very heavy, and all signs of a slow bleed is just it keeps on showing every day. So you have lower highs, lower lows all over again, and it's just I think market is somewhat preparing for the bullshit that's going to happen for FOMC and that kind of stuff. The rate cuts, they are de-risking, and the only place I am interested in longs for like continuation intraday bull market, whatever you want to call it, is below this August liquidity. I can be interested in scalp longs. As a matter of fact, today I was interested around 114 flat, but price didn't give us anything to work with. So the only good confluence level I have is below this low, because from my trading perspective, sorry, I'm just going to pull. And I'm going to explain why I didn't like initially that we bounced in here. It's because, sorry, it was the previous ATH, sorry. Why I didn't trust this low to begin with, because this low happened on a weekend day, and we just measly tapped into a very high time frame algo pocket before just pushing to a new ATH. This is why during all of this ramp up, I was very dubious as to why we're pumping, why we're keeping a weekend low. So I would be very interested to take a long again targeting for, I don't know, because I still have psychology issues as to holding winning trades. That's my issue. But if we do get a clean run of all of this liquidity, and this is high, sorry, English. The chances of it happening is very high at the moment from what we're seeing. Below this level, I probably wouldn't be longing anything no more, because this is the kind of the last line in the sand for me if you want to get above the previously created ATH here. For shorts, as I know many of you don't like shorting, I'm probably one of the only analysts in Chroma at the moment being like heavily favoring shorts, no matter the market condition. And this is also what's killing me when we're just going up. But as a rule of thumb, when you see slow bleed structure like that, and I said it in January, I said it again around here. So if you're seeing this, sorry, like that, highs are protected, lows are swept. This is slow bleed price action. You never, oh, sorry, someone pinged me. Oh, basically, slow bleed price action. If you want to long slow bleeds, fine. All right, I'm not telling you to not long, but at the moment you have no confirmation that the slow bleed is over. You didn't make a single higher high at the moment, so you should play accordingly. Accordingly, for example, during slow bleeds, during downtrends, just like uptrends, the gaps are protected and are not flipped. All right, the gaps are protected, the highs are protected, the lows are. This is what triggered the short that I've taken here. My problem is that again, I didn't hold it. I trailed the stops and I got tagged out, but that's another issue. The reasoning is always the same. All of these gaps that you leave behind, they shouldn't be flipped. And as long as you don't flip these gaps on higher time frame, like hourly, H4, H1 at least, if you want to be longing, all right, if you want to be longing, this is what I've recommended earlier, earlier this summer, is you just pull a fib, all right? You just pull a fib from the highest high, so the pivot you are targeting, and you just put your TP here. You will increase the chances of reaching the TP way higher than if you were targeting the actual pivot. Because in slow bleed condition, price can very much do this. And this is what's been happening. Like any significant high has not been taken so far. And every gap on low time frame, every bearish gap has been respected. So to sum it up, I'm not someone who's following news like Osprey is doing, and I have a kind of day trading view of the market more because as you guys know, I mostly scalp. I sometimes have the psychology to hold intraday trading, but at the moment, my key level for longs is below the monthly low here. It's really below. Ideally, I want the GP to be completely stabbed and reclaimed afterwards. That would be the cleanest you could get. Anything below monthly low and below the GP, I don't think I would long, aside from scalps. So basically, this is the last level to hold for me for continuation to price discovery, like 125. Anything below this, and I think we do roll over to 100k again. And that's far-fetched, so I can't make prediction as to what happens between here and 100k. But if we lose this level, I am pretty sure we're going to enter the range of 110 to 100 at this stage. Key levels to reclaim for upside, if we do not tag this, okay, is first you have monthly open, and second you have weekly open. Above that, it looks bullish again. Above monthly open, if prices sustain above monthly open, just like it was yesterday, and yesterday I wrote it in my channel, it looked bullish on low time frame. Everything pointed at bullishness on low time frame, but well, I went to sleep and Asia completely nuked the price. So anything above monthly open, sustainability above monthly open, I will switch neutral. Above weekly open, in my opinion, we're bullish again. And we can chase monthly high. But I do think that the ultimate punishment is going to come for bulls because we stacked too much liquidity in the past weeks on the buy side. And like I said, usually both sides are getting fucked, to be speaking bluntly. Like, both sides have to experience pain, and this was max pain for shorts, like billions in shorts liquidated, and now we have billions in longs liquidated. Market is not just punishing one side. It usually does both, or it chops, but now it's clearly a reverse McDonald pattern, whatever you want to call it. And the final straw is this. This is really, really what I'm paying attention to. And I am not interested in any longs now in this range. I'm not interested in any long. And I'm not interested in longing also below weekly open. If we don't reclaim weekly open, I would be interested if we go back above here and fall back down as a retracement. But anything in between is just zigzagging, is just for now the green button is disabled, and I will short this level until it breaks, and I will short every daily level until they break, meaning that like for example today, if monthly open was to fail, I would have been looking at daily open for a short as well. You're just playing level to level. And like I pretty much teach in the group classes that I hosted, to build bias on the day, if you're day trading, you just look where the price is compared to where it opened. Like, we're below weekly, we're below daily, we're below monthly. So most likely we're going down today as well, unless proven otherwise. But I'm heavily favoring shorts in this environment. So you watch reaction. Monthly gave us something. If it didn't, we're looking at daily. If it doesn't, we're looking at weekly open, so on and so forth. But I had no reason to long today, for example, and it was completely out of the question to long. When we're below every like major key level on medium, high, and low time frame, nothing to do. Very easy minus to go against the trend, which is downside. That's pretty much it for me, Foldis. I can hand over to Victorious.
That's awesome, Rouge. Thank you so much for that. Victor, you're up. Take us home.
Yes, sir. So it's gonna be nice to hear me talk because I will talk about mostly the same stuff that Foldis talked about, kind of coming back at what we started with. First of all, yeah, I'm really sorry to see so many people getting liquidated or losing money in this environment. If that happened to you, or if you lost big portions of money, my advice is that you should take 2 weeks off. In the first week, you simply don't do anything. You just take a break from charts, take a break from everything. And then more importantly, in the second week, you come back and you start looking at what you did wrong. And probably what most of the people that lost money in this environment did wrong was longing when there was absolutely no reason to long, in my opinion. Or at least if you were longing and you caught a nice bounce, you should have protected that long with TPing early or moving stops break even. Let me show you why I say that. So ever since we made that all-time high, every single support has failed and every single resistance has held. So if you longed any of these moves, but you expected them to go through the resistance, that's where your mistake was. I'm kind of helping you out in case you lost money longing in this environment. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on this because I already talked about it enough, but basically we lost the support of value area high, we created an H4 fair value gap that acted as a resistance. Yes, you could have longed the POC being tapped, but only TP right here at the H4 fair value gap. Why? Because that is a resistance. This bearish H4 fair value gap held, we dumped, created a new H4 fair value gap, that held as well. So as you can see, price is continuously creating lower highs and lower lows, and bearish fair value gaps keep holding. So by any chance, if you long, do not target anything above these fair value gaps. Why? Because recency bias tell us that they hold. All right? Same thing right here. We dumped. Many people said, oh, maybe this is a good level to long. And it was if you caught a long from here. But then you TP'd at resistance. Because look again, the H4 fair value gap acted as a resistance. And I don't want to sound like a know-it-all, but it was actually really easy to trade in my opinion if you were shorting. Why? Because look, this is how I entered my first short. We fully filled the H4 fair value gap. I was waiting on an M15 break of structure that didn't come here. Then it came right here after fully filling the H4 fair value gap, and I shorted. Now today we took out the Monday low. Yes, again, you could have longed, but your target should have been the bearish H4 fair value gap. Why? Because look, we came up, we almost fully filled it, printed another M15 bearish break of structure, and boom, that was your short. And it's very easy in this environment to get baited by longs at these key levels, like, oh, we are tapping the Monday low and we're reacting nicely, that's a good long. Like I said, I don't disagree with longs, but you should TP them really fast to move stops break even, because there is a higher chance that the resistances keep acting as resistances over and over and over again until one time when they don't, and that's when you flip your bias. But right now, there is no reason to be bullish. Every single support has been lost. We lost the range value area low. We even came close to it. We couldn't reclaim it. Again, like I said, H4 fair value gap acted as a resistance in today's New York session. And that's when I entered my second short, because we made a new low. So now, yeah, I'm in two shorts. I also took a short in the New York session from here to here. That was a scalp, but I'm in these technically two swing shorts, but it's just one position with the average entry right here. And like many of my previous speakers said, I'm targeting the monthly low, and my stop loss is right here. Why? Because if we break the bearish H4 structure by creating a new high on the H4, we also would probably inverse an H4 fair value gap that's gonna be here. So then the resistances stop acting as a resistance, and we have reasons to flip bullish. But until then, there are no reasons to flip bullish, and I am probably one of the biggest bears right now. And I'm gonna give you a very good example. Right here, you had one of the easiest traps that you can fall into. You saw this big dump, and then you saw an M5 break of structure, and for a while it looked like the M5 fair value gap is holding as well. So probably you would have been inclined to say, oh, but this is an M5, let's take a long like this, no? Because well, it's a good long. Wrong, because you only take bullish M5 breaks of structure when H1 is bullish. You only take bullish M15 breaks of structure when H4 is bullish. People do the most when they end up losing money in these scenarios. They see a break of structure and they long. But we are in a bearish trend, so you shouldn't do that. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Like, look back at your trades and see if you've done any of these mistakes, like longing against the high time frame trend just because you saw a low time frame break of structure, or trying to knife catch. That's even worse. But at the moment I am bearish and I'm targeting the monthly low, and my bias will only flip to bullish if we invert an H4 fair value gap. And if we break the H4 structure back to bullish, which is right here at 115.8K, until then, I am short, I am bearish, and I expect more downside. Maybe not immediately, but by the end of the week, I expect this low to get taken. So, yeah, take a step back and see what mistakes you did and come back stronger. And next time, you'll make sure not to lose money, but actually make money.
Love that. Thank you very much, Victor. And that's a great point to finish on as we come to quarter past the hour. So yeah, I won't keep you guys here any longer. Just want to say a massive, massive thank you to all of our speakers today. Some great alpha dropped. And yeah, just echoing what Victor kind of touched on there at the very, very end, like and echoing what I said at the start. Appreciate that lots of guys have taken a little bit of a hit the last couple of weeks. But it's really all about how you step up after taking a hit like that, how you bounce back, right? And like Victor says, if you need to touch some grass, if you need to take some time off, do that. The worst hit I ever took in crypto, I remember I deleted the apps off my phone and like spent 2 weeks engaging with no crypto whatsoever, no trading content, no crypto content. I just allowed my brain to completely focus on other things. And when I came back, it was really with a clean slate mentally. My emotions had returned back to the mean, and my mental focus was there. But if I know that if I had tried trading in the 24 or 48 hours after I lost all that money, it would have just been adding more. It would have just I would have just compounded the error, right? And that's something that I've spoken about a lot before. Small losses are not the thing that's going to knock you out of the game. It's big losses, and a lot of the times that those big losses come when you compound errors, right? So yeah, just there's a lot to be said for stepping away from the charts when you're tilted and just taking some time off. The markets will still be here when you get back. And yeah, look, I hope everyone's doing all right. We're here to help. The team is here to help. If anything, if you need advice on anything, if you just need someone to reassure you and tell you it's going to be all right, like that's kind of what we're here for. So on that note, I'm going to make a post on my channel about that later because it is an important point and something I want everyone to be aware of. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, for taking the time out to listen to us today. Thank you for this to everyone who spoke. And yeah, we'll be back next week with another market roundtable. The recording of this roundtable will be posted later on today. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I will catch you around. Thank you, and bye-bye.